First thing he did, well, we have to apologize. There was no recession last year, etc. And so during the Q&A, I referred to it as him as being on the apology tour.
Hey, I'm sorry, there was no recession.
Exactly.
What do you want me to do, right?
Yeah, shoot me,
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Northpoint of View. I'm here with Dr. Walter Kemmsies. Walter, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mark.
Hey, man, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. Hey, I was watching a commercial last week in the NFL playoffs, and it was, what are the hardest two words to say? And it was, I'm sorry. Walter, this is the apology tour, man.
Yes, it is. The economists are all out there. I'm a member of a supply chain association, and the way I pay my dues is I'm the chief economist for the association.
Okay.
And so back in December, we were figuring out who to have come and speak, and I said it would be good to get an Outlook talk. And so, on the big Zoom with 30 people, they go, oh, so you went on? I go, no. I think we need to get BNSF's chief economist. They're represented in this group because BNSF has bottom-up data. Right now, the macro data is lagged and it's not being very helpful. And I said, but I don't think there was a recession. In fact, I think the 2023 recession was everywhere but in the data. But we don't have the data for the last 2 months, so
right.
Let's get him to come on. And he agreed. And really very affable guy, very intelligent, and his economics are identical to mine. You start from the bottom up, and then you grab the top-down data and see if it matches up. And if it does, okay, you might be right now. Very straightforward. So he got up, and first thing he did, well, we have to apologize. There was no recession last year, etc. And so during the Q&A, I referred to it as him as being on the apology tour.
Hey, I'm sorry, there was no recession.
Exactly.
What do you want me to do, right?
Yeah, shoot me, So now everybody's saying no recession for this year, so that's the consensus view.
Yeah, the soft landing, which of course when everybody says it, then that's when I get worried, right?
Exactly. So not that we want to get into this now because we should talk about it in another podcast, but all of the stuff that's going on with the canals, particularly with the Houthis, is forcing a lot of ships to either pay a ton for insurance to go through the Red Sea, or else they have to run the ships a little faster and a little longer by going around the Cape of Good Hope, coming from Asia to Europe and East Coast.
Where the pirates have gotten back into business again now too, apparently, right?
Exactly. Pirates are back. They've always been there, but they've become a little more active is what it is. So, but it's easier to take them out. It's harder to take out the Houthis. The Houthis have got the backing of Iran.
Yeah.
And so, they get a lot of intel from Iran, and to deal, the obvious solution is you go to Iran and just bomb the hell out of it, but that's just going to start a geopolitical expansion. That's
the domino
exactly
effect.
So,
I read something, and I meant to double check it, but something where the shipping rates have quadrupled in the last 30 days because of this, and that seemed like a really high number. But
yeah, no, that's not right. They have increased about 2x, maybe in some places 3x.
Okay.
But quadrupled is not off the table. It's just that right now we're getting into Chinese Lunar New Year.
Okay.
And once you get into that, then there's no point in sailing a lot of ships because everybody went home for calendar New Year.
What is that? Is that 3 weeks?
It's about 2 weeks,
okay.
Right? Is that all right if we ask our research assistant Han here?
I don't know.
Han, how long is China?
Next Saturday, I think.
Starts next Saturday and goes 2 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. 2 weeks.
All right, great.
Thanks,
Thank you. So it's good to have
I think.
So it's good to have a.
So we've got a a gap there that's going to take a little bit of the pressure off. But here in another 30 days, if it's still on,
Oh, no, there won't be, because, see, once we get all the stuff out that we need, so before China shuts down for half a month,
okay,
once that's out, when everybody comes back on, there's no need to have so much pressure. You can slowly go back and rebuild. So if you see things, the sea rates going that high, it wouldn't happen until, easily March.
okay,
But the air freight rates have been very slow to rise, and we're seeing some slow shifting. We're seeing combinations of sea and air, and we're seeing air and air. And a lot of it is stuff that goes to the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, Dubai, and then it gets flown out to Europe and North America. And that's been picking up. The air freight rates have risen a little bit, but a lot of people, when this started, said, oh, they're going to make a lot of money in air freight. Yeah, right. Show me the money. There ain't no money.
But the article in the journal yesterday, maybe it was this morning. There was a graph of the gateways, the Suez Canal problems, Cape of Good Hope problems, Panama Canal, no water, not no water, but
No,
there
you're right.
issues
That's a good way
there.
to put it.
And so, like, in a moment, it's like we've got a worldwide problem with shipping. How does this get resolved? I mean, if, as you say, we're not going to go to war with Iran, I don't think.
No,
and
I don't
so we continue to have this pressure. The Panama Canal thing, we've talked about that before. I mean, that's a long-term solution, right?
Well, with the Panama, they have a long-term solution. They could actually do it pretty quickly. The big issue is the political will. You have a lame duck president who, quite frankly, I think made a very bad choice. But nonetheless, they've got a plan to fix it. And then, of course,
isn't there, though, some option with the water down in Panama? Like, they could either put the water in the canal, or they could have a resort or something. I mean, you were telling me something about that.
Yeah, well, they have no. It's not so much that. It was a copper mine.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, and so
Not resort, copper mine. My bad.
yeah, no problem. But anyway,
But that's like a 10-year fix, though, right? I mean, that's not like a
yeah,
2-year fix,
but
is
you
it?
only need that to work when El Nino is wreaking havoc. So El Nino goes away, and then you have plenty of time during the quiet period to go and build in whatever you need.
Okay.
So that's not the end of the world. For the Red Sea, China is now talking to Iran because this is affecting China. Their products are becoming way too expensive for Europeans because it's all getting built into the container rate. And this is the topic we were going to talk about somewhere else.
Don't mess with my money.
Yeah. So the rates that you have to pay to move a container full of stuff have gone up. And the reason that matters is because the importers are not going to accept that. They're going to pass it on to the consumer. So we could be seeing some rising of consumer price indices over the next year or two, and the Fed may end up not cutting rates like the market hoped.
Right.
So
And because of shipping, literally because of transportation costs.
exactly.
Yeah.
And it's affecting a wide range of shipping. This time it's not just containers or anything like that. It's oil tankers got shot at, ro-ro vessels, right? They got shot at, container vessels. With the higher cost of a broad range of goods, some of which are inputs to other goods, so there's a double whammy effect, we could see inflation resurge.
And that being the case, what we're dealing with would be a protracted period of time with these higher interest rates.
Yeah. And then remember, we're still seeing manufacturing move out of China. And so these other places where it's going aren't currently way too cheap. They will get there. Their infrastructure is being built, et cetera, et cetera. But China was the cheapest solution and had been for quite some time. And then you have the the labor market in the U.S., where the workforce growth rate is an appalling 0.2% per year for the next 10 years. Already, we still have more job openings than we have people looking for jobs. 1.4 times as many job openings last I checked. Wages are going to continue to be able to rise at a higher rate than they have in the last 10 years. I don't see how inflation gets back to the 2% goal that the Federal Reserve has established, which we've talked about before, and you know how I hate that fictitious number, 2%. Why 2%?
Yeah.
I don't know. Milton Friedman said so.
Yeah.
Come on, that was like 50 years ago.
So, is there a scenario that you see clouds on the horizon that we actually, with sort of the Fed's stubbornness, a higher probability of a recession later this year?
I've dropped that. I went through, all of the little lead lags that I have in the variables, and I still have an inverted yield curve, and historically that has always preceded a recession. But like I've told you once, the yield curve has to uninvert before a recession occurs. So right now, the yield curve is inverted. I'm good with that, okay? Let's leave it inverted. It lowers the probability of a recession. But if we see the yield curve start to uninvert, depending on the reasons for that, I think we'd have a recession. Now, there could always be an exception, but...
We're sleeping with one eye open. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Hey, Walter, thanks. As always, pleasure being with you.
Yeah, same thing, Mark. It
All
was
right.
good. Take
See
care.
you guys.